This is
Welcome to the dark side of lust, guys. Well, let's get into this one today. Okay. Well, this one came to me from a guy that is in prison right now as we speak. He doesn't want his name to be released, clearly. He's embarrassed. But he just wanted me to tell you this story so he could make you aware of some things that goes on around the world. So this particular man, he worked in a beer store. And he was a very sneaky guy. Now, he was the type that never really had a date, and he was shy. He wasn't a bad looking guy. He just didn't believe in himself, and a lot of girls didn't really like what he calls his pimple sounding voice and weak demeanor. He tried to fix himself up a few times by watching YouTube videos on how to become a better man, but he always fell back into his natural personality. So, working in the beer store, he came across a lot of women. And although they were not very interested in him, he would use it as an opportunity to get to know them better. Now, when he did see a woman that he liked, he would card her and he would say, "License, please." Of course, he didn't do it to women that looked young only. He would do it to women that looked of age. And they would giggle, the women would feel good, and the woman would be like, "What? I'm like 32 years old. You're asking me for my ID? All right, here it is. It's been a long time since I've been carded." And they would give him their license with the address on the front of the card. And he would have a photographic memory and remember the address. After the woman left, he would write down her name and her address in his little notebook that he had on the side of the cash register. Now, he wouldn't target every woman that he wrote down the address for, just the women that would become regulars. So if a woman came in a lot, he would say to her, "Oh, hi, how you doing today, Teresa or Tammy or Caroline?" Or whatever the woman's name was, he would address her by her first name and get chatting with her and make her feel good about herself. And then he would start to ask her questions like, "Going home to cook for the family tonight?" And if the woman said, "No, I'm single. I'm going home to have some drinks by the fireplace or by the pool or in front of the TV." And once a woman indicated that she was single and living alone, she would become his target. Now, he was very careful who he targeted because he didn't want to get caught, clearly. So she would have to live in a house and, maybe even live with her mother or something of that nature. But as long as there were no men there, his target would be women that said, "Oh, no, I live with my mom, she's older now." Or his target would be, again, a woman, sometimes a single woman, a single mother. As long as there were no men there, he would start by going to her house, never apartments, because he never ever wanted to get caught. And quite frankly, there was not much he could do because he would start by peeping in the windows at night. Then he would go around to the backyard. And then he also made sure that he had little bits and pieces of information about their schedule. He would know when they were getting off work. And especially the women that drank often. The women that were in every night or every weekend. He knew how much they were buying and how intoxicated they just may get. He would watch them. And then eventually he would try to get into the house. A few times he did. A few times he got into the house and got as far as the kitchen, if the kitchen was in the back door. Or he would get as far as the garage. And then he would chicken out. But he would always grab something to remember them by. At times he grabbed forks plates. One time he even grabbed an entire tablecloth. Just little things to remind him of that person's home. He would go home and sleep with it at night. Yes, a real regular strange one. Well, one day he caught up with the wrong woman. He thought this was going to be the right woman that he could finally get something from. She was single. She had nobody. Her husband had just died. And she said to him one day when she went into the liquor store, he said, "Oh, you're not with the husband today?" She said, "No, I'm not." Now, he had her address from long before because when she first went into the store, he liked her and he got her address by carding her. But then he gave up on her because she went in with her husband one day. And then sometimes her husband would go in, but he never ever was rude to them. He always said hi to them and made them friends too. Well, one day when she went in and she said that her husband passed away. And she had tears in her eyes. And he said, "My gosh, are you okay?" And she said, "Yes, I just took the day off work and I'm going to be taking the rest of the 2 weeks off work. I don't know what I'm going to do." And then she said to him, "Do you think this bottle will conflict with sleeping aids?" And right away he was like, "I don't know. There's a lot of people that come in here that need sleeping aids and they drink a good bottle of wine before they go to sleep. I think you'll be okay." And that was it. That night, he went to her house. He got as far as her living room. You see, he went in the back door, through her kitchen, into the living room. He was surprised that there were no motion sensors, so he thought. He was surprised that there was no alarm. But the next day, he got into her living room and then he did funny things, if you know what I mean, and squirted all over her couch. She was still going in every single day that she had off for those 2 weeks. He was getting closer and closer to her upstairs bedroom. She lived in a house, a 2-story home. And the first night when he got up a couple of the stairs, one of the stairs squeaked, even though it was carpeted. And he ran down and he ran out the house. But he remembered the next night what step squeaked and he skipped that one. And then he got to the top of the stairs. When he got to the top of the stairs, a motion sensor went on, a light. It flashed. You see, they had their motion sensors, the husband, before he died. He was a person that believed that you get the person in the house first if they're going to do some type of robbing. They think they're safe, and then when they get to the top of the stairs and a light comes on, automatic motion sensor, they get scared and shocked and then they run out. You see, a lot of people, when they're running back out, it's still dark in the house and they trip and they fall, they get scared, they may not know the house very well and then they hurt themselves. And her husband was a little bit of a practical joker as well. So he was a little keen on how he did things. When the light went on, she didn't notice because she was sleeping, out cold. He noticed that she didn't notice. So he went into the bedroom and he watched her. He didn't touch her. The next night was the same. And he saw her in the store the next day. She didn't say anything to him. She went straight to his counter because she liked talking to him while she was getting her booze checked out. You know, he'd be checking her out at the cashier and she would get talking to him and she would be sharing with him a lot of information that he would know. He asked her, "How did you sleep last night?" And she told him she was out like a light by 7 and woke up at 7. She got a good 12 hours sleep. So he knew that she was a dead sleeper. Well, the next night, what he did was he decided he was going to go further. He went up the stairs, skipping that noisy one. And he knew the motion sensor was going to be on, so he expected the light. Then he went into her room. Instead of watching her, he leaned over her and blew on her to see if she would wake up. She didn't wake up at all. She actually had a sleeping mask over her eyes. He thought to himself, why doesn't he just lay down beside her in bed? He knew that they had that special bed where someone could sleep on one side and you don't feel them when you're on the other. How did he know that? The husband himself told the beer store worker that they had recently got that bed so the husband could sleep better because the wife was always moving and tossing and turning. So he did that. He laid on the bed beside her until 3 o'clock in the morning, and then he got up and he left. The next morning, when she went to the beer store, she said to him, the strangest thing. And he said, what? And she said, I smelled my husband's perfume, cologne, when I woke up this morning. That scared him a little bit because he did spray some of the husband's cologne on him before he got in bed with her. So he thought the cologne would be gone, the smell of it in the morning, but it wasn't. And the reason why he sprayed it on him was because he wanted to feel like what it was to be her husband in bed with her. He said to her, oh, sometimes, spirits, they come and they watch over you at night. And, he said, I've been watching a lot of those spirit shows, and sometimes there's spirits that come. He said, I even saw before on camera spirits, and they'll go in the room. So don't be worried. He's looking over you as you go to sleep at night. Now, he didn't realize that this woman was desperate to see her husband, missing her husband, and what he said to her really made her feel good. So she went home and she immediately checked the camera at the top of the stairs. You see, that motion sensor was actually also a camera. It had an SD card in it. And so she decided to check it, thinking that maybe she would have seen her husband's spirit on this camera, on this motion sensor, because there was also the camera pointing into the bedroom from the hall stairs. Wow, was she ever surprised when she saw what she did? She couldn't believe it. It was him, the beer store worker. Immediately, she went to the police station and she made a report. She had everything right there on camera. They went directly to his work, picked him up, and arrested him. While he was in the room getting his interrogation done, he actually admitted to the rest of the things that he did. They broke him down bad. They asked him, how many times have you done this? And what about the woman down the street? And they also tried to pin some serious crimes on him as well. And he just wasn't having it. He admitted to what he did. And he got 8 years in prison. He feels bad for it today, and he said to me that there are a lot of other people out there that do the same thing. So you better be careful. Be wise. Be smart. When you're showing your ID card, show your date of birth and your name. But make sure you cover your address. Keep your loved ones close with this beautiful keepsake. It's a pendant and it's also beautiful crystal and stainless steel. It comes in different varieties and different colors, different styles. You can use these unique keepsakes for a lock of hair, ashes, or a secret message. Keep your loved one close right now. Order today, always with me. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, comment below.